Today, for our CAP program, we are honored, blessed, and one of the most fortunate people to be here at this temple because we have one of the most revered, highly influential, and very learned and highly accomplished devotee and sannyasi with us. His Holiness S.P. Keshava Maharaj.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram.
Let me tell you what Maharaj represents. For those who do not know about whom I am talking about, Maharaj has been raised and spent in his initial days, his youth, and his early days of childhood in London. And while growing up as Vikal, just like any Asian kid, he was also was attracted to cricket and other things. But then he, at the age of 15, he got Bhagavad Gita, and that's where his attraction towards Gita consciousness and Krishna consciousness started increasing. And at the age of 21, after visiting India, he became a monk. And he has become one of the most fortunate days for all of us. And it was very important to Maharaj. Swami Maharaj while he is staying in the temple as a monk, he had done many revolutionary things. One of the biggest things which Maharaj has done was the authoring 10 different books. And his books have been referred everywhere because his outreach is in many different countries, more than 65 different countries. And it has reached to more than 5,000 people, just to give a little count. In various universities and different youths and in many ISKCON temples as such. Maharaj has also established the Bhakti school, and which is being well it has been well received in London and as well as in different countries also. And Maharaj, his philosophy, wisdom that brings his teachings, which are centered on Tattva, essential Vedic truths that underpin the universal reality, is aimed at transforming one's life on physical, emotional, and social and spiritual levels. If you see his books, they actually reflect all this, these principles. So it's very rare to have His Holiness Keshava Swami Maharaj at any temple for that matter. But we are one of the chosen temples. Somehow, Shishirada has showered immense mercy upon us to have His Holiness with us. And it's very big that Maharaj will be here with us for 1 year in Boston. But we do not know how much we will get at the temple. But however, that's one thing is at least it's very heartwarming, and also for all of us, it's a big treat that to have His Holiness Keshava Maharaj here in Boston. Haribol! Much louder, please. Haribol! Much louder, please. Haribol! So with this, Haribol, it's a plea at your lotus feet, His Holiness Keshava Maharaj, that kindly consider to give your association as much as possible. We are beggars, and we would love to have your association. So we take this opportunity to welcome His Holiness Keshava Maharaj to Boston on behalf of entire ISKCON Boston, and especially today we would like to welcome him here, and I would like to pass on the microphone to His Holiness Keshava Maharaj. Please give a round of applause.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, everyone. It's a little low. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So thank you so much for your warm welcome. Very happy to be here in Boston with all of you. Just before how many, is anyone here for the first time to the Boston Temple? Okay, no one's here. Oh, okay.
First time in the country.
Okay. I think we have another student from Harvard here, is it? Okay. Welcome, welcome. So yeah, just before coming to the temple, we just went to Commonwealth Pier, where Srila Prabhupada arrived 60 years ago. Srila Prabhupada was incredible because he was always ready to make a journey into the unknown. When Srila Prabhupada received the instruction to spread Krishna consciousness all over the world, at one point in his life, he made the journey in the unknown and he renounced everything and became a sannyasi, not knowing what would happen. Later on, Srila Prabhupada received passage to come to America and he took another journey into the unknown. When Srila Prabhupada came to America, then first he went to Butler, Pennsylvania, but then he realized this is not the place. And so Srila Prabhupada went to New York. He went into the unknown. And when Srila Prabhupada came into New York, then first he went to upstate New York, but then he realized this is not the place. So then Srila Prabhupada came to the Lower East Side of New York, a journey into the unknown. So when we're ready to take a journey into the unknown, when we're ready to take a risk for Krishna, then beautiful, amazing things can happen in our life. We can meet Krishna. And so coming to Boston is an opportunity to remind ourselves that just as Srila Prabhupada took a risk, if we want to meet Krishna, if we want to experience the magic and miracle that is available in everyone's life, then you have to be ready to take a risk, to take a journey into the unknown. But in one sense, there's no journey into the unknown because the scriptures tell us if you follow this path, then there's no unknown. You'll reach the ultimate destination, the spiritual world, where we can again be reunited with Krishna. So let us take that journey. Remember Srila Prabhupada, who gave us this opportunity to take the journey. Radha Madhava Kunj Bihari Radha Madhava Kunj Bihari Radha Madhava Kunj Bihari Radha Madhava Kunj Bihari. Gopi Jan Vallabha Girivardhari. Gopi Jan Vallabha Girivardhari. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunj Bihari. Gopi Jan Vallabha Girivardhari. Gopi Jan Vallabha Girivardhari. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yamuna Tira Yamuna Tira Jaya Radha Madhava Kunj Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunj Bihari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Gaur Hari Gaur Hari Gaur Hari Gaur Hari Gaur Jai Jai Prabhupada Prabhupada Jai Jai Om Gyan Timiran Bhasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurandamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhisham Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Paramayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yada Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Harijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagat Pate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sudeveri Pranamami Hari Priya Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Paditana Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasudeva Gaur Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Sankirtan ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna, everyone. So today we'll read, as we usually do on a Sunday, from the Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is a very, very beautiful book. One commentator says that if all the Vedic scriptures are like a forest, then all the Upanishads are like the flowers in that forest. And if all the Upanishads are like the flowers in the forest, then the Bhagavad Gita is like a garland of the most beautiful flowers arranged in the most beautiful way. And therefore it's mentioned, Sarvopanishado Gavo Dogda Gopalanandana. That if you compare all the Upanishads to a cow, Dogda, someone is milking that cow. Who is that? Gopala, Krishna, is milking the cow. And then Partha Vatsa, there's a Vatsa. Vatsa means a calf. And who is that calf? Partha, Arjun. And what is he doing? Dugdam. He is drinking the milk that Krishna is milking. And what is that milk? Gitamrita, the Amrita, the nectar of the Bhagavad Gita. So the Gita is considered to be like the milk of the cow of all the Upanishads. So it's the essence of everything. Sometimes the Gita is also compared in different ways. For example, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says the Ganga is very powerful, isn't it? Nimna Ganam Yatha Ganga. There are so many rivers, but Ganga is considered foremost. So it's explained many yugas ago, the Ganga descended in the form of the river Ganga. And therefore it's said that anyone who bathes in the Ganga, they go with the flow of the Ganga all the way back to Krishna's lotus feet. But Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says that same Ganga came in Dwapara Yuga from the mouth of Krishna in the form of the Bhagavad Gita. And therefore, whoever bathes their mind in the words of the Gita, they flow back to Krishna's smiling face. And then Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says the Ganga came down a third time in Kali Yuga. And this time the Ganga came in the form of the tears which come from the eyes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when he dances in Sankirtan. And therefore, when the kirtan is going on, the kirtan of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that person who is able to drown in the tears of love while chanting the name of Krishna, then they will also flow all the way back to Krishna. So like this, the Ganga came down in so many ways, but the Ganga came to us from the mouth of Krishna in the form of the Bhagavad Gita. Therefore, it's recommended, Maline Moshanam Pumsham Jalashnanam Dine Dine. This is very simple. Jala means water. Shnana means bath. Dine Dine means every day. So just as every single day you take a bath with water in order to cleanse the body, similarly, Gita Mritam Mahat, one should also bathe their mind in the words of the Gita. So today let us read from the Gita. Somehow opened the book and it came to this verse, so let's read this verse. First, let me ask you a question. There's three options. Are you a pessimist, an optimist, or a realist? Put your hands up if you're a pessimist. Okay, what? Some honest people in the crowd. Thank you so much. Put your hands up if you're an optimist. Put your hands up if you're a realist. Okay, there's a lot of realism in Boston. So do you think a devotee of Krishna is a pessimist, an optimist, or a realist? Which one? Realist? What do you think? Not sure? In one sense, a devotee of Krishna is all three. Pessimistic, optimistic, and realistic. Let me try to explain to you how. Let's read from the Bhagavad Gita. Today we're reading from the 8th chapter of the Gita entitled Attaining the Supreme. This is very, very important chapter because there's only two things sure in life: tax and death. Everything else is, let's see what happens. But these two things you can't avoid. So therefore, death is definitely going to come. Therefore, the 8th chapter of the Gita is a very, very important chapter because it talks about the most crucial juncture of the soul's journey through this world. And that is the moment when the soul is about to leave this world. That moment will come. We don't know when it's coming. One time I was going to a funeral program, a funeral service. So we were driving to the crematorium. So we drove into the crematorium and we drove into the car parking space. And as we drove into the car parking space, we looked out of the windscreen and there was a sea of graves. And just as we turned the car off and we were looking at all of these graves, the sat-nav said, "You have reached your final destination." Wow, my God. It was one of those moments where you thought, my God, Krishna. So yes, your final destination. Nobody has an appointment, but it's coming. And what does Yamaraj say to Yudhishthira, or what does Yudhishthira say to Yamaraj when he asks him, what is the most amazing thing in the world? Ahani ahani bhutani gachanti hayamalayam sheshastavanamichanti kimascharyam mataparam. What is the most amazing thing in the world? Ahani ahani bhutani, every single day living entities, gachantiha. Gacha means to go. Gachantiha yamalayam. Yama alayam, the place where Yamaraj resides. Every day living entities are dying. They're going to the abode of Yamaraj. Shesha, stavaramichanti. Stavaram means to stay. Isn't it? Like, for example, if you look at English words which begin with st, stop, stay, stand, they all have a sense of being in that place, isn't it? So stavaram means to stay in one place. So what's the most amazing thing in the world? Every day, everyone is leaving, dying. But I think I will stay here forever. Kim aschariyam. Ascharya means very wonderful. Kim aschariyam. Kim means what else? What else can be more wonderful? Ataparam. More wonderful than this. Amazing. Nobody thinks they will die. So here Krishna is speaking about the inconvenient truth of death. And therefore he's speaking to Arjuna. Is the verse there? 15? 15? Okay, wonderful. So you can repeat after me. Mamupetya punarjanma dukhalayam shashvatam apnuvanti mahatmana samsiddhim paramam gataha mamupetya punarjanma Dukhalayam ashashvatam napnuvanti mahatmana samsiddhim paramam gataha mamupetya punarjanma dukhalayam ashashvatam napnuvanti mahatmana samsiddhim paramam gataha. One person, one is. Mamupetya punarjanma dukhalayam ashashvatam napnuvanti mahatmana. So just in the interest of time, I'll just do the translation in purport. By His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Translation: After attaining me, the great souls who are yogis in devotion never return to this temporary world, which is full of miseries, because they have attained the highest perfection. Purport: Since this temporary material world is full of the miseries of birth, old age, disease, and death, naturally he who achieves the highest perfection and attains the supreme planet, Krishna Loka, Goloka Vrindavan, does not wish to return. The supreme planet is described in Vedic literature as Avyakta and Akshara and Parama Gati. In other words, that planet is beyond our material vision and it is inexplicable, but it is the highest goal, the destination for the Mahatmas, great souls. The Mahatmas receive transcendental messages from the realized devotees and thus gradually develop devotional service in Krishna consciousness and become so absorbed in transcendental service that they no longer desire elevation to any of the material planets, nor do they even want to be transferred to any spiritual planet. They only want Krishna and Krishna's association and nothing else. That is the highest perfection of life. This verse specifically mentions the personalist devotees of the Supreme Lord Krishna. These devotees in Krishna consciousness achieve the highest perfection of life. In other words, they are supreme souls. Srila Prabhupada Ki. When we were children, maybe we read fairy tales. And how does every single fairy tale end? They lived happily ever after. Now, don't underestimate it. This is a deep theological assertion. Because according to Vedic literature, the soul has three qualities: Sat, Chit, Ananda. Sat means it's eternal. Chit means it's fully cognizant, aware, it has volition. And Ananda means happy. So when the fairy tales say they lived happily ever after, lived means Chit, because conscious, aware. Happily means Ananda. And ever after means Sat, eternal. And therefore, when the fairy tales say they lived happily ever after, what the fairy tales are pointing to is the deepest aspiration of every single living being. But nobody lives happily ever after in the material world, because everything here is asat, everything here is achit, and everything here is nirananda. And therefore, this world is the complete opposite of what we desire to experience. The Christian writer C.S. Lewis therefore says, if I find in myself a desire which no experience of this world can fulfill, I must conclude I was made for another world. Which is a beautiful point. It's so innate within us to want eternity, to want happiness, to want full awareness, but it's frustrated in this world. Always frustrated. And therefore here Krishna says, Mam upaitya, having attained me, punarjanma, you don't have to come back to this world. You don't have to take birth again here. You don't have to face Monday morning again. You don't have to go through the struggle of material life again. It's a struggle. Krishna says, because this world is dukhalayam ashashvatam, is full of misery, and everything here is temporary. Have you noticed how the only constant in the world is that everything changes? Your relationships change. Your health changes. Your position and your influence in the world changes. Your fortunes change. Your hairstyle changes. Everything changes because everything is ashashvatam. Everything is temporary. Time is not your enemy. Sometimes people think time is my enemy. It's taking everything away from me. Time doesn't take away everything from you. Time takes away everything that's not you. Understand this point. That the reason why time is so destructive and the reason why Krishna says, Kalosmi, I am time, and I'll come and I'll take everything away, is not because time is your enemy. Time is not an enemy which is causing you to suffer, but time is a teacher which is helping you to go beyond suffering, because it's revealing that I'm taking all of this away because none of this is you. You're not defined by how you look. You're not defined by your relationships. You're not defined by your position or what qualifications you attain in this world. All of this is temporary. Therefore, all of this will lose its value. You're defined by something much deeper. You're a spiritual being, an eternal servant of Krishna. Jivera Svarupa Hoy, Krishnera Nitya Das, Krishnera Tatastha Shakti, Veda Abheda Prakash. But the problem is, you are Tatastha. Tatastha can mean literally on the edge. You feel like in your life you're on the edge sometimes. Yes, that is the position of the soul, that sometimes the soul is on the edge, sometimes in ignorance, sometimes in knowledge, sometimes absorbed in matter, and sometimes absorbed in the eternal reality. And so, at the beginning of this talk, I asked you, are you a pessimist, an optimist, or a realist? But actually, in one sense, a devotee of Krishna is all three. A devotee of Krishna is a pessimist, because actually Srila Prabhupada writes in the Bhagavad Gita, a devotee should be pessimistic about material life. A devotee knows whatever you try to do here to be happy is doomed to fail. Whatever you try to do here in order to make a pleasurable situation, it will go wrong. It will break down. It will ultimately lead to frustration. In the 5th chapter of the Gita, Krishna will tell Arjuna, Yehi samsparsha jaboga dukhayo naya evate adyantavan taponteya nateshu ramate Buddha. You have to become a Buddha. You have to become an intelligent person. And what happens when you become an intelligent person? Na ramate. You don't play around anymore with the things of this world. Why? Because if you start playing around with the sukha of this world, what Krishna is saying is people don't realize that sukha is the dukkha yoni. And this is very beautiful language. Yoni means a womb. So what happens in a womb? A child takes birth. So what Krishna says is that sukha or material pleasure is the dukkha yoni. In other words, whatever you try to do to experience happiness, that sukha, impregnated within it is dukkha. And therefore, the more you try to experience pleasure of the material world, the more you will find distress coming we're living in. But ultimately, a devotee is optimistic because they know that you can't be materially happy in this world, but you can be spiritually happy in this world. It's interesting because here in this verse, Krishna says, Dukhalayam ashashvatam, the world is full of misery. And another great teacher, Prabodhananda Saraswati, he looks at the world and he says, Vishvam Purna Sukhaya De. He says, everywhere I look in the world, I only see happiness. You think, are you guys part of the same tradition here? Here Krishna is saying the whole material world is full of dukkha. And Prabodhananda Saraswati says, Vishvam Purna Sukhaya De, everywhere I look, I only see happiness. How does that work? Which one is it? Dukkha or Sukha? I'll give you another example. In the Bhagavatam, in the 5th canto, we will hear the material body being described. And the Sanskrit word for the material body in canto number 5, keshava. Da means to give, like dan, charity. And klesha means misery. So you know what the etymology of the meaning of the word of the material body is that which gives you misery. But the amazing thing is, 2 cantos later, the material body is again described, and you know the word used there? Artha Da. The material body is called Artha Da. Da means to give, and Artha means great benefit. Which one is it? Does the material body give you misery, or does the material body give you great benefit? Is the material world a place of misery, or is the material world a place of great joy? It depends on how you interact with it and how you utilize it. If you try to enjoy this world and exploit this world, if you try to enjoy the material body and exploit the material body, know for sure life will be miserable. But if you use the material body, the material world in service, if you embody a mood of spiritual selflessness in how you utilize the body in this world, then the body and the world will give you great benefit, great joy, great reward. And therefore, Krishna says, Susukham kartum avyayam. That when one is situated in knowledge of how to actually live in this world, then they walk through this world in a very joyful way. And so, in the ultimate sense, a devotee is optimistic because they know if I embody the right mood, the right attitude, then every day when I wake up, Vishvam Purna Sukhaya De, everywhere I will see only happiness, only joy. And so here in this verse, it may seem very pessimistic, but actually if you look deeper, there is a great teaching in this verse that a devotee is pessimistic about material life. A devotee is also very realistic about the world and what happens in this world, but ultimately a devotee is optimistic about the spiritual opportunities to experience unending, eternal happiness. And therefore, the Bhagavad Gita, the association of spiritual people, and the very beautiful spiritual practices that we've been given, these are known as sadhana. Sadhana iti sadhana. Dhana means wealth and sat means eternal. So one definition of sadhana or spiritual practice is that thing which will awaken your eternal wealth. And therefore we have this great opportunity So we must stay focused. Life is busy, life is full of so many demands. At every moment, life is changing. There are new things on the horizon, some things are closing. The world is constantly mutable. Bhutva bhutva praliyate, Krishna says. But it doesn't matter. Whatever changes are going on in the world, when a devotee wakes up in the morning, they realize everything changes, but nothing changes. Because I know when I wake up in the morning that I have one priority. And that priority is that somehow or other in this life, Mahamupetya, Punarajanma, I have to try to attain Krishna. And if I do that, Punarajanma, then I don't have to come back again and experience dukkha layam ashashvatam. And therefore Krishna says such a person is a Mahatma, a great soul, because they attain the supreme destination. Hare Krishna. Alright, I already see some hands. Yes.
So the thing that you think is making you happy as far as the physicality and the thing that you think is making you miserable in the physicality, it's two sides of the same thing and they're both superficial and transient. It's not a real happiness anyways. It's all part of that maya and that physicality that you get trapped in when you're not fulfilled.
Yes, thank you so much. Yes, the happiness of this world is very, very transitory. Therefore, Krishna says, Adyantavanta Kaunteya. Every type of seeming pleasure or happiness in this world has an adi, a beginning, and an anta, an end. And therefore, something that has a beginning and an end can't be said to be ultimately true. Can't be said to be ultimately real. For something to be ultimately real and true, it must have endurance. Therefore, even the material world is sometimes said to be real, but also unreal. It's real because it's here in one sense, but it's unreal because it has no endurance. It's only here for some time. And therefore, the whole purpose of spiritual life is to find that which is true. Truth. Like we were just at Harvard today, so Harvard's motto is Veritas, Latin, which means truth. So what is truth? In Sanskrit we say tattva. Tattva means that which stands true in all times, places and circumstances. If something doesn't stand true in all times, places and circumstances, it's ultimately unreal. And so yes, we want to experience real pleasure, real love, real fulfillment. And this must be on the level of the soul. Thank you. Anyone else?
Could you share some experiences of being with Janakinath Prabhu? He's my god brother. I know he departed this world. He used to come to Boston with our Guru Chandramalai Swami. So any experiences you can share about him, especially when he was leaving his body? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes, I wrote a book called Loving Life, Embracing Death. So it was all about one of our monks who at the age of 31 was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer. So almost overnight he found out that he had cancer, and almost immediately they told him it's terminal, and the OT, the occupational therapist, told him you probably have a few years left to live. So I was with him when the doctor told him that. And in my mind I thought, what goes through the mind of someone who knows they've only got a few years to live or a few months to live? what must go through the mind of such a person. The reason I wrote a book about Janakinath Prabhu and I called it Loving Life, Embracing Death is because the true sign of someone who's spiritually accomplished is that they can become flexible to any situation that life may present to them. It's interesting, like if you're physically fit, then one of the signs of physical fitness is that you have flexibility. So similarly, one of the signs of spiritual fitness is the ability to be so flexible to the changing plans of Krishna without any frustration, without any regret, without any disappointment, to just say, life has changed and I'm totally okay with it. And therefore, he was told he only had a few days to live, a few years to live. And within days, he just started finding new opportunities in his life of how more beauty could be discovered in the journey that he had left. So, in that book, I write many, many stories of how he dealt with suffering, how he dealt with disappointment, how he dealt with the uncertainty of life. And perhaps the greatest lesson that I learned from him was a couple of weeks before he passed away. I was with him, we were together, it was late at night, his body was riddled with tumors. So I was massaging his back just to give him some relief. And he said to me that the last 5 years of my life have been the best 5 years of my life. He said, because in the last 5 years, I made my greatest contributions to the world. I developed my deepest relationships. I had the most profound spiritual realizations. And I experienced the greatest connection with Krishna. And he said, getting cancer was the greatest gift I could have received in my life. That's pretty amazing. So, a devotee loves life. Every day when we wake up, we're hungry, we're eager, we have so many amazing things to experience in this journey. But when the notice comes of death, then a devotee simultaneously loves life, but when the notice of death comes, they also embrace death. This is another adventure. This is another opportunity. This is another call from Krishna to enter into a deeper relationship with him. So, yes, this is the test. It's not a joke to remember Krishna at the end of your life. It takes deep spiritual realization. It takes deep faith. And it takes one to be extremely detached from all the temporary things of this world. And so before that call comes, we have to start preparing ourselves. So, these are some thoughts. All right, yes. I don't know how long we go.
I can talk about
Yeah, sure.
Guruji, what's the purpose of our life? How can we understand the purpose of our life? Because we are all here because of our karma, and we are here to preach Krishna. But at the same time, from the Krishna consciousness, how can we even understand that, for our soul, what's the purpose of why we are here?
Thank you so much. One time Srila Prabhupada was in a press conference and someone said, Swamiji, what is the purpose of life? And Prabhupada looked back at the reporter and said, to enjoy. And then Prabhupada looked at the reporter and said, but you don't know how, so we've come to show you. So one may think a holy man saying that the purpose of life is to enjoy. No? Anandamoya bhyashat. The soul is made for happiness. The soul is made for spiritual joy. So what is the purpose of life? What is the purpose of this world? What is the purpose of karma? What is the purpose of every obstacle and everything we experience in life? Is to help us understand where we can find real love and real happiness. The basic problem of the conditioned soul is that we're looking for the right thing in the wrong place. We're looking for the right thing, happiness, but we're all looking in the wrong place. We're looking in places where we're going to get frustrated. One person said to me, I only need 3 things to be happy: time, money, and health. I said, when you're young, you have loads of time, you have good health, but you ain't got no money. I said, when you grow up, in your middle age, you have loads of money, you still have good health, but you ain't got no time, my friend. And when you grow up, even older, then you got loads of time. Then you got loads of money. But you ain't got no good health. I told him, don't try. Don't even try. And I said, even if you get time, money, and health, even then you'll be frustrated. So it's the biggest lie in the world. The biggest lie in the world is that material achievements, material arrangements, material acquisitions will make you happy. It's the biggest lie in the world because it's the lie which is accepted across the globe. It's the lie which has been accepted for generation after generation. It's the biggest lie because even when we experience this lie, we still keep trying to believe it's true. And it's the biggest lie because even when someone sits in a mic like this and tells everyone it doesn't work, there's a good chance they're still trying themselves. That is a confession. It's the biggest lie. The purpose of life is to realize it's a lie. I need to look for happiness in the right place. That's the purpose of life. Okay? All right? Yes?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you so much for such an inspiring class. My question is that on one side we are thinking about selfless service to Krishna, thinking there is nothing in it in this world for me. On the other hand, I just heard you saying that this world can never bring us happiness. But there's this gray area in between where we think that we are acquiring something for service of Krishna. We may start with that inspiration. But down the line, something that we acquire or get in return of service becomes ours, or we feel that we can enjoy something out of, in the process of even serving Krishna. Would you like to elaborate, the gray area in between?
So there are some people who are trying to enjoy materially, miserable. And there are some people who are pure devotees of Krishna, joyful. Actually, the Mahabharata says there are only 2 happy people in the world. The completely ignorant and the completely self-realized. In fact, the completely ignorant aren't happy, but in the world they say ignorance is bliss. So the Mahabharata says that there's only two happy people. The completely ignorant and the completely self-realized. Everyone else is miserable to different degrees. And therefore, even what we call the Mishra Bhaktas, the mixed devotees, they also experience some misery. You may have noticed, even in the Hare Krishna temple, everyone is not completely blissful all the time. Like one time, one person, new person, he came to the japa time with a new person. So I thought, better speak to him, tell him what's going on. So I said, every morning we meditate, and our philosophy is very simple: chant and be happy. Then he started looking around at all the devotees chanting. I mean, you know better than me what that looks like. Like one person was ready for the sleeping bag, another person was like intense. So he looked around at everybody and goes, these people don't look so happy. So it's a little bit of a struggle. So the Bhagavatam explains, Savai Pumsham Paro Dharmo Yato Bhakti Rato Sajay Ahaituki Apratihata Vyayatma Suprasidati. If you want to experience Atma Suprasidati, satisfaction of the soul, then your bhakti has to embody two qualities. Ahaituki, it has to be completely unmotivated. Apratihata, and it must be completely uninterrupted. Therefore, if someone's devotional service becomes motivated or interrupted, to that extent, they will be, spiritual happiness will be withheld from them. So it's not that they don't experience no joy, but they don't experience Atma Suprasidati, complete fulfillment. So therefore, yes, we have to keep trying to purify our devotion day by day. Alright?
Thank you, Ma'am.
Thank you so much. Alright, I think, are we...
Thank you, Hare Krishna Maharaj, for this lecture. So, Maharaj, you mentioned that material happiness won't be like true happiness, but if the spiritual happiness, that will be long lasting, right? And when we go out for book distribution, and for the new people, when we say this, we try to, explain them for the material happiness, it is for some time, for temporary purpose only. But what example can we give for this spiritual happiness, eternal? Can we give some examples so that it is, makes some sense?
So we tell people material happiness is temporary, and we tell them spiritual happiness is eternal. But can we give any examples of this? Well, of course, it's something that one has to experience themselves. But we can give examples because, say, for example, you could tell people there are devotees who have been chanting Hare Krishna for 3, 4, 5 decades, every single day, for 2 hours. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. The same words for 50 years. Now, would you be able to do that with any kind of material sound vibration? I don't know. You can try. Maybe you shouldn't try. But would it work? I don't know. It's hard to say. But then someone could come back and say, yeah, but there are people who have also given up chanting Hare Krishna. So it's falsified now. So our point is that there are examples clearly of people who seem to be experiencing something which is beyond any type of material happiness. Right? But the ultimate proof is that you have to experience it yourself. Because it's an experience which has to manifest within your own consciousness for you to be truly convinced. But there's enough signs that by practicing this process, people are undergoing incredible transformation and experiencing heightened states of happiness. And ultimately, our proposition to the world is you have nothing to lose. There was an American psychologist, William James. So he came up with something called live options. So he said, in life you have many options, but not every option is a live option. For example, I could tell you, you want to be happy? Go out into the high street, and if you see a blue car which is more than 10 years old, then smash the windscreen and you will experience great happiness. Now it's an option. I don't think you're going to do it. Why are you not going to do it? Because William James says for something to be a live option, it has to be practical, it has to be logical, and it has to be probable. He says for something to be a live option, it has to be practical. You should be able to do it without any immediate bad ramification. It should be logical. It should make logical sense, like how does doing this get this? And he says it should be probable. You should see examples of people doing that and experiencing it. So if I gave you that example of smashing the window of the car, it's not practical because you'd probably get arrested within 5 minutes. It's not logical because how does that make you happy? Like, what's the thinking behind that? So it's illogical. And it's not probable because I don't think you've seen anyone in your life experiencing great ecstasy by smashing the windscreen of a blue car that's over 10 years old. So therefore it's an option, but it's not a live option. But if I tell you chant Hare Krishna, it will make you happy. Now it's practical. You can do it today, nothing to lose. It's logical because yes, you're a spirit soul, there's a supreme spirit, you have a relationship, and through sound vibration, it unlocks an innate consciousness that you already have and it connects you. Okay, kind of makes sense. And is it probable? Yes, because I've experienced people doing it who are experiencing heightened levels of spiritual experience. Therefore, this American psychologist said if something is a live option, you'd be a fool to not try it out or at least give it serious consideration. And that is our proposition to the world, that Krishna consciousness is a live option. You tried so many options to be happy in this world, and basically none of them worked. So why not try? You have everything to gain and nothing to lose. Okay? So like this, this is one way. Okay, so thank you all very, very much for your attention, for being here, for your very warm welcome, and wishing you the best on the journey. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.
So again, thank you so much, devotees, for coming today for the Sunday program. Just before I hand over to Vanamali Prabhu, so Maharaj has brought some books with him, and if you're interested, we have 3 options available. So we have a CC Compact, the Chaitanya Charitamrita Compact, which is a guided study of the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So Maharaj will take you through it step by step, chapter by chapter, which is absolutely amazing. And we have the Gita 3 book, and you can go through the Gita book 3 times. So each time there is a summary and the main essence and the teaching of the chapter. And with each chapter, there's a practical life exercise that you can all do to apply these teachings into your own life. So this is like a really nice book to have. And if you're into journaling, this is like something that could work out for you. And then the final book we have is book Bhagavatam. And then this is an in-depth guide study of the Srimad Bhagavatam, and we go through each canto in this book, and there is a very, very helpful acronym that will take you through the Bhagavatam, and by the end of this book, you'll be an expert and you will know the Bhagavatam. So if you're interested in any of these books, please come and see me over there outside in the reception. And we don't have many books, so come quickly. Hare Krishna, thank you.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, dear viewers. I'm positive you're convinced now that Maharaj, how well read he is, and you can see that how he has churned the scriptures. He has written amazing books on Bhagavad Gita, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and Srimad Bhagavatam. One of the rare gifts to ISKCON to have His Holiness ISKCON Maharaj. So we are, as I told you, that we are very, very fortunate to have him here. So please take advantage of his being here in Boston. You can visit us here. But most importantly, as I said to you, he has written more than 10 plus books. So we have 3 books here. So please feel free to grab those books, and Maharaj would be happy to sign those books as well. And those who would like to have a conversation, you can have a conversation now. So on behalf of ISKCON Boston, let's, like from a core of our heart, let's thank him, and thank him enough so that he feel indebted to come back again. So once again, so please, my request, and I implore everyone, please give a big, big round of applause. Yes. So there are seekers, there are practitioners, and there are also teachers. Among the teachers, the teacher who actually extracts and explains the very complex topic in a very simple and lucid way. And one of them is His Holiness ISKCON Maharaj. So if you visit his website, you can understand that. So he's an author, he's a spiritual leader, and he's a guide. And he travels all around the world, and we have his association. So let's take advantage of that. So now we're going to go for a food prasadam. So we'll make a queue from this front door in a buffet style. The food will be served. Take a plate of food and then come back and sit here. While this is happening, we can go and have the conversation with His Holiness ISKCON Maharaj. Okay. So let's chant the prasadam press, and then we'll go for the food. Okay. So yes. Yes. So do you want to grab the mic? So sure. I have to ask supposed to say. Okay. Okay. Yes, dear devotees. So we have Bhadra Purnima around the corner. So those who would like to grab the copy of Bhagavad Gita, also Srimad Bhagavatam. So on this auspicious occasion of the Bhadra Purnima, we have an opportunity to all the devotees here. You can